there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Thank you so much for tuning in once again, and welcome on board our Airbus A320. And today I want to talk to you about the flight controls, and also more specifically about the protection systems that we have. And I'm just going to be diving a little bit more detailed into the fly-by-wire capability of the aircraft. Well, as you know, the Airbus A320, let me just put the autopilot on just to make my life a little bit easier. So as you know, the Airbus A320 is a fly-by-wire aircraft. We're just going to turn to the right, head back towards the city for a second. So 120 on the track, should be good for us. And as a fly-by-wire aircraft, what is fly-by-wire? Well, basically fly-by-wire is where your flight controls are not connected directly to the control surfaces of the aircraft. Your controls are connected to a computer, which then computes those inputs that you give into your flight controls and does whatever edits it needs to, and then sends the signal over to the control surfaces. And basically it's for lack of better words, it's an aid that's going to help you fly the aircraft more smoothly, more effectively, and definitely more safely. All right, so and the fly-by-wire in the Airbus system is amazing. I know there are other fly-by-wire aircrafts out there. I know the Boeing 777, the 787, and maybe a few business jets now, they're all fly-by-wire. And of course, we've had fly-by-wire technology in fighter jets for years now. But to me, the Airbus, as a commercial pilot flying passenger planes, the Airbus, to me, is unmatched. Now you can argue that in the comments below, and I'll happily respect if you tell me Boeing's better. No problem, to each his own. But as a pilot who flies the Airbus, I absolutely love the Airbus fly-by-wire system. And part of the Airbus fly-by-wire system, and one of the hallmarks of this system, is what we call the auto trim. If you notice, the trim wheel will move from time to time. Like for example, right now I'm on autopilot. Okay, so I'm going to take manual control, and I'm actually going to show you how the auto trim for the pitch works. And it's going to help me keep the aircraft trimmed at all times, regardless of all the controls that I input that I put into the flight controls, into the side stick. So for example, I know I'm mumbling here now, so let's just say we want to climb. All right, we want to climb to an altitude of 6,000 feet. I'm going to dial 6,000 in there, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take control. Okay, autopilot is off. I am now hand flying the aircraft. We still have auto thrust on, but watch what happens. Like in a conventional aircraft, if I was to increase the pitch, okay, like from where we are now, which is 5 degrees, if I increase it to 10 degrees, like so, look at the trim wheel. It's going to automatically move to trim the elevators to maintain that pitch. So all I did was pitch up to 10 degrees. All right, watch this. I'm going to pitch to 10 degrees, and I'm going to leave it there. And now the auto trim has already trimmed the aeroplane to maintain 10 degrees. So I'm not touching the controls, and the aircraft has already trimmed itself for 10 degrees. Now let's just say I'm getting close to my 6,000. So we're just going to let it climb for 6,000, and as we get closer to the 6,000 marker, I'm gonna bring the aeroplane back down again. So I'm just giving very minor inputs into the side stick, and I just want to level off at 6,000. Gave a little bit too much there. It's angry. I'm gonna calm it down. I'm sorry, Airbus. And watch this. As I hit that 6,000 marker, I'm just gonna match the vertical speed to the marker, and then in just a few seconds I will have reached 6,000 feet. And as you can see, the trim wheel is constantly moving as I give input on my pitch commands, it's gonna move to help me maintain. See, there we go, it's now trimming. And there we go, we're at 6,000 feet now. Just gonna give as little input as required just to maintain that 6,000 feet. And there we go. Now the aircraft is not gonna go anywhere. It's gonna maintain 6,000 feet. It's already trimming for me. Now in a conventional aircraft, you would have to keep hitting the trim switches or move the trim wheel, you know, to make sure that you're now trimmed for that current pitch and that current rate of climb, depending on your power setting as well. But the Airbus, all the systems, the auto thrust, the auto trim on the elevators, and even the auto trim on the rudder, even the autopilots on, they all work together to make sure that the aircraft is doing what you want it to do. So that's how you do that. Now let's just say I want to climb to 20 degrees nose up. All I do is I bring the nose up to 20 degrees, and the moment I'm touching 20 degrees, I let go. And there we go. I'm maintaining 20 degrees. I'm trimmed for 20 degrees. And it's increasing the power as required to maintain 20 degrees. So obviously that's too high. So I'm just gonna bring the nose down now. And I'm gonna bring it down to a nice 5 degrees initially. As the vertical speed comes in, we're gonna just give small adjustments just to keep the aircraft nice and steady. All right. Now, the same thing works for the ailerons. Now let's just say, let me bring on the flight directors, okay? On the flight directors, there you go, flight directors are coming on. Let's just say I want to make a turn to a heading of 210 degrees. I will make it 240, so it's a little bit longer turn. So 240 set, all right? And I want to maintain 6,000. So now all I have to do, I need to bank over and catch this vertical line. So watch what happens when I bank. As I bank the aircraft, it's also trimming the ailerons for me. And that's it. I let go. I simply put the aircraft where I want it to be, and now I'd given it about a little bit over 20 degrees of bank, and look at that, it's maintaining the bank for me. I'm doing nothing. I'm not touching the side stick. I'm not messing with the thrust levers, nothing. It's compensating for the thrust. It's doing everything. It's coordinating the turn, and it's maintaining that bank angle for me all nicely. Now if I want to level out, all I have to do is, let me take out the flight director just so we don't get too much information on the screen. Now to level out, all I got to do now is just simply move the side stick until my wings are level. You can know the wings are level when these two yellow arrows are pointing at each other. That's a good indication of wings level. Of course, you have the artificial horizon as well. And there we go. Doing nothing. It's maintaining it for me. And it will do it all the way. If I bank to the left 10 degrees, it will maintain 10 degrees. If I bank to the left 20 degrees, it's gonna bank to the left 20 degrees. It's gonna keep that bank for me. All I did was move enough. So let's go for 30 degrees. I'm now just gonna bring the nose up a little bit just so we don't descend too much. And I'm gonna bank to 30 degrees. There we go, 30 degrees of bank. And I'm not touching the stick. It's maintaining my bank. It's maintaining the last commanded rate of descent. Everything. If I bring the nose down just a bit, it's still, all I did was push forward on the stick, and it's descending now, maintaining the last point where I left it off, and maintaining a 30-degree bank. Now as I get closer to 6,000, I'm gonna give some right stick, and I'm gonna bring the nose up to about there so that I can just maintain 6,000 thereabouts. And yep, no input on the stick. There it is. It's trimming, it's maintaining, it's helping me fly this aircraft. And that's a really, really good thing, because it just makes your flying so much more safer. Now in terms of the protections, let's just, for the sake of argument, let's assume I'm the worst pilot on God's green earth. All right, so I'm gonna try and now over pitch this aeroplane. So I'm gonna yank all the way back on the side stick, and I'm gonna try and, you know, put the nose up 90 degrees if I can. So here we go. Gonna pull back on the joystick all the way. I am full aft on the joystick. You see the green marker at 30 degrees? So it's gonna, as long as we have airspeed, it will let me go. But now that it knows I am running out of airspeed, I'm still pulling full back on the joystick, all right? On the side stick, I'm full back pressure. Look at that. As we start to lose the airspeed, look what happens. As we lose airspeed, it's starting. I'm still pulling back, but now it's lowering the nose of the aeroplane, and it will continue to lower the nose even though I'm giving full back pressure. It's fighting me now because it's going outside its flight envelope, and it's brought the nose back down to an angle where I'm now recovering my speed. I'm still pulling back on the side stick, but it's not letting me exceed this pitch until I have enough speed to go there. Now we ease off on the side stick back to neutral, and if I bring the nose down a bit, so it limited my pitch to 30 degrees, but because my speed was not enough, it didn't even let me go to 30 degrees. It basically said, hey, that's enough, you're at a risk of stalling out, I'm gonna lower the nose. So that's how the pitch protection works for you. And it even works in reverse. Let's just say I'm gonna push all the way forward, bringing the nose down. It's gonna stop me at 15 degrees. Look, I'm pushing all the way, it's all the way in, but it will not let me exceed 15 degrees of nose down. I'm descending like a bat out of hell, 9,000 feet a minute, but it's still not letting me exceed that. Won't be long before I get some warning, so I'm just gonna recover the airplane now, bring it back up. There we go, we got a sink rate. We're gonna bring the nose back up again, and we're just gonna stabilize the aircraft right over there. We got plenty of speed, letting it bleed off. I just want to keep the vertical speed at 0. And yeah, we'll level off back again around 6,000 feet. And with the auto thrust on, it's regulating the thrust to maintain my speed. So once we get back to 220, it'll induce a little bit more thrust just to maintain this altitude. There's 6,000 feet. I'm just gonna try and keep the airplane nice and stable over here at 6,000. So that's how the pitch protection works. Now let's talk about the bank protection. Now again, assume I'm a terrible pilot. I'm an absolute moron. So I'm going to now you know, if I go to 10, it banks and keeps the airplane there for me. If I go to 20, again, it banks and it keeps it for me. I'm gonna go to 30. There you go, there's 30 degrees. It's maintaining that bank for me. But when I go outside 30 degrees, I'm gonna try and maintain 45 degrees now. All right. Now look what happens. I'm on a 45 degree bank. All right, giving a little bit of pitch. It's constantly trying to bring me back to 30 degrees. Look what happens. So now we're at 45 degrees of bank. All right, 45 degrees. And the moment I let go, it automatically brought itself back to a safe 33 degrees. So it doesn't let you go beyond 30 degrees of bank. So let's just say now I'm a really horrible pilot and I'm gonna try and flip this airplane over. I wanna do a barrel roll. So here's what's gonna happen. As I push the side stick, all right, I'm gonna push it now. I'm just gonna bring the nose up a little bit for the maneuver. I'm gonna keep it at 10 degrees nose up. And now we're already 30 degrees of bank. I'm gonna push all the way. Look at that, it busted through 45 degrees. At 67 degrees, where you see the green markers, it stops me. Even though I'm pushing all the way, it does not exceed 67 degrees. When I let go of the side stick, it brings itself back to a safe 33 degrees. Now I'm gonna recover the aircraft, because yeah, those mountains are getting a little larger. So, and I did lose a bit of altitude in that steep turn. But as you can see, you can push the joystick as much as you want. I keep saying joystick, I'm so sorry. The side stick. As much as you want. And it will not exceed the the parameters that you see over here. And as you can see, it does not exceed those parameters. Now even if I go full left all the way, full left on the side stick, all the way, even though I'm pushing full left on the side stick, it doesn't let me exceed 67. It stops me there. I'm still pushing. Now I'm just going to recover the aircraft again. Give it some back pressure. G load is protecting me as well. And we're good. We're back again. We're safe. Everything is going fine. So that's how the pitch and bank protection works. All right. So now let me just get us over to another area. Now imagine you find yourself in a stall situation. Now with the auto thrust enabled, the aircraft definitely works the thrust to make sure that you always have enough thrust to sustain your flight. But what if I was an absolute numpty and I basically, look what happens here. I'm gonna bring the thrust levers all the way to idle. Okay, they're physically on idle, power's coming down, all right, and we're at idle. Okay, auto thrust is off, physically at idle, idle confirmed on the engines. And to make things worse, let's go ahead and pull back on the side stick. Look at our airspeed. Our airspeed is dropping. I'm pulling full back on the side stick. The airspeed's dropping. Now look at that. Now the aircraft is going to go into alpha floor, and I did not even touch the thrust levers. They're at full idle. Look at that. Alpha floor is giving me pretty much 100% thrust, and even though I'm still pulling back on the side stick, it's gone into toga lock, and it's just maintaining that pitch. It won't let me go beyond. It's protecting itself. So the aircraft is not gonna let me go anywhere beyond this point here, because if it knows anything beyond this, it's going to be unsafe, and we're going to lose airspeed and fall out of the sky. I never even touched the thrust levers. It did this all by itself. That's the protection system. Now all I gotta do is bring it back to idle. Back to neutral. I'm gonna lower the nose now. I'll lower it to about 10 degrees. That should be enough for us to start recovering our airspeed. There it is, we're recovering. Now the aircraft is in toga lock mode, so I want to bring it back to a normal thrust. So I'm just gonna disconnect by pushing the disconnect buttons, bring it back to this, and push the auto thrust mode, and there we go, we're back again. So now we've got the auto thrust back in speed mode. Auto thrust is working. Can bring back the flight directors. Gonna pull, make a heading of 030 degrees just to kind of maintain a certain heading right now. Yep, 030 is over there, and I want to maintain about, let's give it 7,000, 030. And now the aircraft is basically gonna put the autopilot back on, and now the aircraft is gonna follow the flight directors, maintain 030, 7,000 for me. And let's take her out back towards the seaside. So we'll go in a heading of we can go to a heading of 300. That should be good. So let's make it 300. That's going to take us outbound back towards the sea. So that's how the fly-by-wire works for you, to keep you safe and to basically keep the aircraft safe. Now what would happen if you were to lose the fly-by-wire system? What happens if you lose the protections? All right, then right now the aircraft is in what we call normal law. All right, in normal law you have the pitch protection, you got the bank protection, you got the auto thrust with the speed protection. You've got a lot of protection. You're pretty safe. All right, so but if something happens and certain systems fail, then the aircraft will revert from what we call normal law to alternate law. And in alternate law, you lose all those protections. Now to put the aircraft in alternate law, when all systems are good, all you gotta do is come up on the overhead panel, and I'm gonna switch off ADR 1, and I'm going to switch off ADR 2. The reason I won't switch off ADR 3 is because ADR 3 is what is basically controlling the landing gear control unit, the LGCIU. So if I turn off ADR 3 or I lose ADR 3, then what happens is I would lose the ability to lower the landing gear, and I'd have to do a gravity gear extension using this guy over here, which I don't want to do. So let's get ADR 1 and 2 off. So ADR 1 is off and ADR 2 is now off. And as you can see, we lose the autopilot. I'm going to cancel the bells. We've lost the auto thrust, so I'm just going to stabilize, bring the manual thrust back, match the blue circles to the current thrust. And we've got a whole list of failures, and you can see flight controls were now in alternate law in the Airbus. So flight director is going off, and now as you can see, we've lost those little green markers that were there as kind of like our stoppers. They're not there anymore. So but the aircraft is quite stable. So now what's going to happen is, let's just say I'm just going to remove all these cancels. I'm just going to set an altitude down there so it doesn't buzz. Now as I bring the aeroplane back up to about 10 degrees, it still trims, but I don't have the auto thrust, so I have to give some power to maintain that thrust. But I still have the auto trim for the pitch. You see that? I'm not touching the side stick anymore. It's maintaining 10 degrees for me. So we still have the pitch trim. All right. If I bank to 20 degrees, it still maintains it for me, which is kind of cool, right? See, pitch trim's working and the aileron trim's working for me. I just don't have the auto thrust, but I can always compensate by giving more thrust and adjusting accordingly. But what I do not have is the pitch protection. Like if I try to dive the airplane now, what would have stopped me at 15 degrees, and I go right past 15 degrees. See that? Now let's not be crazy over here. Let's bring that nose back up again, and vice versa on the nose up. What would have stopped me at 30 degrees doesn't exist anymore. So now I can just go all the way. I can keep pulling back on the side stick, and look there, I've busted 30 degrees and we're losing airspeed like crazy. So just gonna quickly push forward on the side stick, bring that nose down and recover before we stall out. But we still have the trim within safe parameters. So if I bring the airplane back down now and try and maintain about 10 degrees. So we got a stall warning. That's because I didn't give enough power. No worries, I'm just going to give a little bit more power. Here comes our airspeed, and that should take care of the stall. Bring it back to about 70%, and I'm going to bring the nose up now, and that will protect us. What we've also lost in the process is, let me give us about 80%. That should do it. Now what we've also lost in the process are the aileron protection, so the bank protection. So now I can actually roll the plane all the way. All right, I'm gonna keep the nose up. I don't want to go into a dive. Check it out. At 45 degrees, I can even go beyond 67. Look, I'm almost 90. I'm practically 90 degrees now. The protection is not there because we've lost the ADRs. But this is alternate law. So as long as I fly like a practical human being, look at that, 90 degrees. Look at that. It's crazy. All right, let's recover. All right, bringing that nose up now. Gonna get an overspeed warning soon, but we'll recover out of that once we bleed off the excess. There we go. Bring the nose up to about 10 degrees, and we've got... I got you, don't worry. Yeah, bring the power back. And then that's sorted now. Keep it at about 75%, and we're good to go. Nose down to about 5 degrees, and we're good to go. So that's how the protections work. All right, so of course, now I'm gonna just turn on ADR2, turn ADR2 back on, turn ADR1 back on, and all those messages should disappear, check our status, aircraft is normal. Can bring back the auto thrust, engage these into the climb thrust. Gonna set 5,000, keep it at 300, autopilot can come back on, flight directors can come back on, and all is well back in our world. The aircraft is now maintaining a safe flight, and it's descending down to 5,000 for me. And so yeah, that's how the fly-by-wire works. If you use it normally, in normal law, it's gonna protect you. It's gonna stop you from overbanking the aircraft. It's gonna stop you from over pitching the aircraft up and down. And if you're using auto thrust, it's going, even with the auto thrust off, it's gonna kick in, and it's gonna save you if you find yourself in a stall and spin situation or a stall situation. It's gonna lower the nose for you, and it's gonna give you enough thrust to keep you safe. And that's what Airbus is all about, the safety that it is. And that's why for us who fly these airplanes, we do love flying them, because we know that, you know, in a situation, this aircraft's got my back. It's gonna keep me safe. It's gonna try and help me out. Not that I should fly like a bad person. Obviously, I need to fly professionally. I need to fly safely, and that goes for any aircraft, I guess. So that's how you. That's a little introduction into the fly-by-wire system and the protection system of the flight envelope. One more thing, if you're in alternate law, there's one more mode. So forgive me, Airbus, I'm gonna do this. Okay, cancel the autopilot. All right, if you are in alternate law, keep in mind, all right, now let's put the aircraft back in alternate law. It's gonna hate me for this, but okay, we got alternate law going now. Gonna clear all those messages. Now, in alternate law, what would happen is you will still have the pitch protection, not pitch protection, I'm sorry. You will still have the auto trim on the pitch, okay? But once you put the landing gear down, which I'm gonna do right now, landing gear's in retraction, here it comes. As soon as the gear comes down, the aircraft is going to degrade further into something a little bit worse than alternate law. It's going to go into what we call direct law. Now in direct law, we lose the auto trim of the pitch and the ailerons, which means basically this is in direct communication with the flight controls right now. So the amount of side stock input that I give is going to be direct. So you can see it's quite twitchy. So I'm just going to try and very gently get my speed back up. And the aircraft will not trim. If I bring it to 10 degrees and I let go, it's going to try and come back to 10 degrees because there's no trim. I have to manually trim backwards for nose up or forwards for nose down to maintain my pitch. So it's pretty much like it's become a really big Cessna right now. And yeah, so that's direct law with the Airbus A320. Okay, you lose the auto trim and you lose all protections. But in alternate law, you lose the protections, but you will still have the auto trim. And in normal law, well, as it says, everything's normal, everything's good. So I'm gonna get the landing gear up so we go back to alternate law. Thank heavens, we're back in alternate law. And I'm gonna come back up here again. ADR2 back on, please. ADR1 back on, and Siri, don't disturb me right now, please. And ADR2 back on. ADR2's on. Back in normal law. Flight director's on. Flight director's on. Take us down to 3,000, maintain 300, and autopilot, auto thrust, and put the thing back in climb. Detect. And now the aircraft is back to normal. Okay, so that's basically it. I hope you guys enjoyed this crazy tutorial on, and consider this a tutorial on what not to do in an Airbus. Do not switch off the ADRs if you have perfectly working ADRs. Do not try to induce the aircraft into alternate law or direct law. Just keep it in normal law, have a good time, have a nice safe landing, and go home to your family. So that my friends is how we use the Airbus and all of its flight protection systems coupled with a fly-by-wire. Hope you found this YouTube useful. If you do, please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already subscribed. It's free to subscribe, and you can always change your mind later if you don't like the videos. And if you think it's useful and you like the video, please share it with your friends. And thank you so much for tuning in. You guys have yourselves a wonderful day. Bye bye.